Blessed day, soul family. Welcome back. Martial Mystic 2026, another episode. So happy to be sharing this with you today, Taiji Tuesday. So we have a lot to discuss. Let's dive right in. What are we talking about today? Calm and connected, regulating coexistence. And we use the word regulating in Qigong as we have five regulations: body, breath, mind, Qi, and spirit. And I've been meditating on trying to deepen my understanding of regulation. And usually we talk about creating the conditions because we want quality of energy and quantity of energy. And quality of energy would be our state of being: joyful, happy, uplifted, or down, lethargic, depressed, anxious. And then the quantity of the energy in any of those states. But creating the conditions to create those states is where we want to keep our minds, typically referred to as Kan and Li. Kan and Li are the methods that produce yin and yang. So we'll look at this more deeply. We have a quote from our calendar series. We have we're looking at experiential blindness, uh, an interview from a podcast about fellow humanity, brothers and sisters, and the possibility of one mind. And then the subtleties of yin yang exchange. And then we'll also look at some current events in the news that are, I hope you find relevant, but they are relevant to me. So let's dive right in, clear and connected, regulating coexistence. The reason that I talk about regulating coexistence is because, as mentioned before, I don't really like the word peace. Peace is like saying you want to be healthy or you want to be happy without understanding how to create those conditions. And and if we were those spell casters, we could just say peace and it would just manifest. But we're not necessarily those masters of the minds yet to just manifest through our will. We have to um, create conditions and manipulate our physical world to create the desired states, including peace. So, in this term, regulating coexistence. How would we do that? What would that look like? Um, and how would we go about doing that? Well, let's first take a look. We looked at this, a clip of this yesterday in our Mental Health Monday, and we're just going to take a look at another segment here.
And then if the all is mind, so if everything in my dream is made up of me, and we just copy paste that up.
Everything in my dream is made up of me is referring to a previous clip when he was saying that he was trying to express or uh, tease out an idea with his son about what is real in the reality of this realm and also the dream realm. In that, when you are dreaming, are you seeing with your eyes in the same way you see with your eyes when you're awake? In your dreams, are the characters, is the house, is the cars, is the grass, um, all separate from you, or in fact, is it made by you? Is it you too? Because it's all contained within your dream.
To this level, we're all maybe part of one mind, and there aren't any people. It's just a mind.
Play that again.
So like my dream is made up of me, and we just copy paste that up to this level. We're all maybe part of one mind, and there aren't any people. It's just a mind. So like the distance between us doesn't exist. It's just like a dream, except we're sharing a dream up here. And that's one of the I think that's a part of that new consciousness theory. I don't subscribe to any of them, any one of them in particular.
You haven't got to believe any of this stuff because it's hard to, you're never going to know for sure. But even hearing it makes me feel a lot more empathetic for my fellow being
Yeah,
because it makes me you. It
exactly.
makes your enemy you. It makes your friend you. It makes the person you love, hate, whatever. It makes all of them you. And none of us would, I think we treat ourselves much better sometimes than we would treat someone 1,000 miles away in a different country with a different color skin.
Yeah.
So that's what I love about this conversation. And actually, every time I bring myself back to this point about consciousness being one, it does make me more empathetic to things.
It does. And it's not because you're a moral person. Like you don't have to have morals anymore. So if I see you as me, I'm just protecting myself.
Yeah.
Like it's just a natural.
In the same way I would with my children.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, the morality doesn't need to exist anymore. It's just the right thing.
So remember, the origin for this series was the martial mystic series was unity, consciousness, mental health, and conflict resolution at the end of 2025. These three phases inspired me to begin the Martial Mystic calendar series. So I was quite surprised to hear these guys talk about unity and consciousness as one mind. And the host, I forget his name, the CEO, Diary of a CEO, he was talking about how he was learning about the microbiome, and there's all of these species and in the gut. And if they were conscious, how would they know that he exists as a person? How would they know that they are encased in his gut? And how could they be connected, or even are they connected? Are they conscious of him? Is he conscious of them? And so consciousness is another idea, but what we're trying to hone in on is the concept of unity and what that looks like, and how that impacts our understanding, our action, and h- essentially how we uh, treat each other on the planet. No, so. Are we recognizing the 10,000 things and understanding that we are all connected through source? And how does that affect how we treat each other in the world and on this planet? And just to remind you, we talked about the origin of humanity as one of these great cosmic powers, heaven, man, and earth. Um, with that said, I want to go now into our calendar quote for today. There's no movement, but a calendar quote actually instead. And so it says, in order to become a great and kind master, then you must love what other people cannot love. You must help those other people aren't willing to help. You must concern yourself with the events with which other people do not concern themselves. You must respect your parents and elders and also love other people's parents and elders. You must love your own children as well as other people's children. And so this might be the third year, and this is from Taiji Tran Martial Applications by my teacher, Dr. Yang. And it reminded me of the fact that I was accepted as a disciple under my teacher, under this author, Dr. Yang, to go live under a full scholarship to learn directly and train directly under him for his in his 10-year program as a formal disciple. And it's very important in that culture when a teacher takes on a student in that way, because then they bring him into the family as a son. They view him as a son. So I thought that was key and that was important. And we kind of think about that mindset in terms of loving what other people cannot love, concerning yourself with other people's parents, other people's other elders, other people's children as your own. And I want that to now connect to this concept that I've talked about a couple of times, and I'm going to return to it. But the idea is experiential blindness. Remember how I was saying I don't like the concept of peace, right? Rather, I wanted to use the term regulating coexistence. How do we create the conditions for coexistence as a more, for me, thoughtful question? So we're seeing this image. This image represents peace. How can we make sense of the concept and not know what we're looking at and not even agree at what we're looking at? If we can't even agree what we're looking at, how are we all going to act in harmony? How are we all going to agree on the same thing, speak about the same thing, and then act in accordance with the agreement? If there's no agreement, there's no condition for harmony. And so this is by a neuroscientist called Lisa Feldman Barrett. And her idea of experiential blindness is that if you have not seen or been introduced to something, then you will not know what it is. You will not know how to interpret it. You will not know how to recreate it. You will not know anything about it. It would just be a random inanimate object. But when you get a clearer idea of what it is, then then you can make sense of reality and agree upon the reality that you're presented with. Experiential blindness. So, where do we have signals, experiences, seeds of peace, seeds of harmony, coexistence in the world so as to build peace in our world? So that is the question. And and I want to use that to go now to our next concept, right? Because so here, why is it important for Dr. Yong to mention this in his book? Help others people aren't willing to help. Concern yourself with events other people are not concerned with themselves. Love your own children as well as other people's children, right? If we had that mindset, if we had that agreement, if we had that understanding, then we could all feel safe, secure, and we might start to build conditions for coexistence on the planet. And so, with that, I want to share now um, something that is not uh, happy-go-lucky, um, but is pretty poignant and something that we should talk about. Oh, something that we should address. Why? We should address current events in the world. And if you're not aware of it, then there was a recent attempted school shooting in Oklahoma a few days back in which the principal tackled the suspect to the ground, disarmed him. And it's just amazing how he responded and reacted. But to see the continued trend of violence perpetrated by young, lost male souls is just truly depressing. Why do we continue to perpetuate violence? Why do we continue to perpetuate war on the planet? Remember, Marshall Rosenberg said, if we're in depression, guilt, shame, or anger, we are contributing to the violence on the planet. Was this kid experiencing violent, well, guilt, shame, depression, or anger?
New video of the heart-stopping moments a gunman walks into Pauls Valley High School in Oklahoma. You can see a pistol in hand. But watch what unfolds next. Principal Kirk Moore in the blue shirt emerging from another door and tackling the suspect, identified by police as 20-year-old Victor Hawkins, a former student of the school. Just feet away, you can see a young person slip out during Moore's fast-acting efforts. Authorities say the principal was shot in the chaos, but managed to get the suspect to drop the gun. Another staff member then scrambling to pick it up.
It doesn't surprise me, the actions that he took, but it is amazing at the actions that he took. There's not a doubt in my mind that he saved kids' lives yesterday.
In a statement, Moore said in part, like so many educators around the country, we prepare for these events. I'm grateful that my instincts and training, as well as God's hand, were available to me. The suspect told investigators he was inspired by the Columbine school shooting, according to an affidavit. He now faces numerous charges, including shooting with intent to kill, as the shaken school community is grateful.
So I've been watching
High
this
School in
for a
Oklahoma.
long time. I've been watching and observing and trying to understand what are we looking at with regard to young men perpetuating this violence on innocent, um, unarmed people, right? So you can have all these ideas about the origin. You could have all of these judgments about. So one person said, you never know how you're going to act in a situation like that, and that how the principal just rushed the kid. Imagine you can, he said, you can never know how you're going to react. Some people fight, flight, freeze, faint. And to be put in a situation like that, truly traumatic. But also the kid that we have to remember that the kid is also suffering. You're Marshall Rosenberg, if you're contributing to violence on the planet, anytime you enter the state of guilt, depression, shame, and anger, just think about that, because what are the origins of actions? The origins of actions are are feelings. The origins of feelings are thoughts. He had to have the thought before that. And then also the inspiration that he talked about, how other kids had the thought prior to this. I wanted to I wanted to take that, but also to use this to bridge to something that's even more powerful and I hope enlightening and enjoyable to you. So in Yin Yang Tai Chi, which I call a peace movement, literally, we talk about the questions, the tough questions. Why are we here? What are we meant to do? What's the function of not just the body, but the heart and the mind? How do we promote common values across cultures and nations? Calm the collective nervous system, reduce polarization and division, celebrate and honor diversity, draw and how to draw upon ancient knowledge. We look at the patterns of the yin yang, the intelligence of Wu Ji, and connect that to nature, right? The spiral symbol that we know and that we see in nature, I haven't gotten too deep yet on this, but I hope that this will shed some light on the power and the diversity in terms of subtlety, movement, space, and time. We can easily see a storm turning in the way that it turns. We can, but what we can't see is a plant developing. But what we learn about is that Tai Chi is nature's template when it's manifesting its force and creating physical reality in space and time. So that spiral movement is very crucial. We see that in so many places in nature. If you go outside, if I go and walk into the redwood forests, I see the spiral tree. As I look up, I see the spiraling in the tree. You see it in the sunflower seeds. Um, Here, it's depicted in the egg. Why is that important? Why is that key? When you look outside, you see the sun, but you don't necessarily see it moving unless it's sunrise or sunset. You can see the leaves, but you can't necessarily see their growth. You can see a young seedling, a sprout, but you can't necessarily see its growth. But you come back and you see that it is in fact different from when you last saw it. The power of this image is that this movement is also going in a template that we can connect with. And that template shares an intelligence that we can connect with as well. This movement we think is lateral. We think that our lives move laterally, but there is a pattern. There is a template, and we can connect to deep, subtle movement if we can stop, if we can listen, and in this case, we can see because of the photography and because of the time lapse, how nature moves about in space and time. And of course, we know we have to watch this in a time lapse because if we were to put our eyes on it, we wouldn't be able to see the movement, right? So what I'm introducing to you today is the rooted coil. The rooted coil is a Tai Chi term that I resonate with as a motion and a movement that is connected to nature, intelligence, and the earth and the heaven, the three powers. See, we think that the movement is up, but it's up, it's down, and it's still a spiral. If you take a look at the leaves looking down, you see there's one, and then two, and then four, and then eight, similar to the Bagua, right? The four phases, and then the eight sides. And so the question is when we're observing reality, what is the root cause when it comes to be our health, our thinking, our mental constructs, our ideas? If we, and this is connected to embryonic breathing too, what are the roots of our ideas? What are the roots of the words that we speak? What are the roots of the thoughts that we have? And what are the roots of the actions that people are deciding to take in this world? What are the roots? Because it's unfortunately deeply in the heart and in the mind of this troubled kid, 20 years old. And how can we get to the root? The last thing that I want to show you is this movement in terms of subtlety. So how does it now work in the domain of who you are interacting with, your partner, right? And so I wanna now, using that same subtle understanding and movement of nature, look to now um, couples Tai Chi. So as my partner here and I at the ocean, and we're doing some partner exercises. So this isn't actually public on our YouTube channel, but I'm thinking about making it public. And as we haven't really, I'm not sure why, but what this shows is the subtlety of yin-yang exchange, and then also the connection between yin-yang, the connection between two people, and the illusion of separateness. Going back to what the podcasters were talking about, being one mind, regulating one mind. How do we create the conditions for coexistence? So this is my presentation for today, and I hope that resonates with you. Let me know what you think. Regulating coexistence, another phrase for this, what I would say an empty word, peace. All right, until next time, may your chi flow smoothly, and remember to embrace the woo.